What's up, agents? Zero here, welcome back to another Minecraft Redstone video. Now, yes, I realize I have not done a Redstone video in quite some time. However, this particular Redstone video is actually going to be quite different from other Redstone videos that I've done in the past, because this one is actually in response to another YouTuber's Redstone video. The YouTuber in question is Mumbo Jumbo. Now, I'm sure pretty much every single one of you have heard of Mumbo Jumbo at this point. I have actually referenced him in some of my other videos in the past, and for those of you who are not aware of who he is for whatever reason, so he is a member of Hermitcraft, and pretty much every other video that he does is actually a Redstone video. He's actually pretty good at it. Now, he is technically on Java Edition, and for those of you who watch my videos on a regular basis, obviously you know that I am technically on Bedrock Edition, so Redstone not 100% the same between the two versions, but I figured I'd make this little response video to kind of at least maybe help him out a little bit, maybe not necessarily. So the video in question that he made them responding to is basically regarding locking repeaters, and I'd like to think that by the end of the video that he still doesn't fully understand locking repeaters. If he or someone else can correct me on this, then you're more than welcome to go ahead and do so. So let's go ahead and kind of get started a little bit. So I will readily admit the actual mechanic behind locking repeaters is actually pretty simple. However, I don't think that he fully understands how to use them in regards to like building actual redstone mechanisms. However, I think he does actually understand how they work. So here is the basis of how they work. So as you can tell, I've got a power repeater going into the side of this repeater, and as you can tell, it's actually got a bedrock bar instead of the second redstone torch. And as you can tell, because of that, if I go ahead and flick this lever on and off multiple times, as you can tell, that redstone lamp does not turn on because obviously the repeater is locked. However, if I go ahead and unlock it, I can now go ahead and start turning this lamp on and off, and I can pretty much do the exact same thing with it powered on. So that is pretty much the simplest way for me to go ahead and show you guys how this actually works. So now let's go ahead and show you guys some simple examples of how you can actually use locking repeaters. Admittedly, what I have on showcase today is not a whole heck of a lot, but I just want to at least give a couple ideas. And this particular one is actually one that was featured on Mumbo Jumbo's locking repeaters redstone video, and this is actually something that he admitted that he had to look up, and this is actually a T flip-flop. So for those of you who have no idea what T flip-flop is, basically it's a toggle that can be done with either a pressure plate or a button, which in this particular case is actually a button, and it pretty much acts like a lever. So I can go ahead and press this button. It's going to turn this redstone lamp on and keep it on, and then turn it back off and keep it off. Now, here's the thing about Mumbo Jumbo's video. He did admittedly see how this was working, and he did build this. However, he said this technically only works with very specific pulse length, and he is actually technically correct on the matter. This T flip-flop only works with stone buttons. If we go ahead and do this with a wooden button, it doesn't actually work. However, I'm actually a little bit surprised he did not do any further testing than this, because I do actually watch his videos on a regular basis, and he obviously understands redstone mechanics. I'm actually surprised he didn't actually realize that you can go ahead and expand on the actual timing circuitry to actually get the wooden button to actually function. This actually is really surprising as to why he didn't actually think of this. And although admittedly he has stated in previous videos that he's not exactly the smartest person in the world when it comes to redstone, he does actually do a pretty good job, but he has admitted it, which at the same time I technically am in the same boat as him. But yeah, that is the T flip-flop, both with the stone button as well as the wooden button. I figured I'd include the wooden button because I thought maybe he might find that at least somewhat useful. And over here I actually have the only other example that I have for this particular video. I realize there are other examples that you can go ahead and make both in Java Edition and in Bedrock Edition, but I figured this is probably the simplest thing that you could, well actually this isn't even very simple to begin with. I mean, admittedly, those who understand Redstone can probably figure this out no problem, but I know there are people out there that don't understand Redstone at all, and this does look kind of... Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So, what this is, if you couldn't tell, this is an automatic tree farm. It actually works pretty simply. So, I go ahead and flick this lever, and it's going to activate this dispenser, which has a whole bunch of bone meal in it, which I actually did a little bit of testing before this video just to make sure it was technically working. So let me go ahead and show you guys how this works, and I'm just going to be very simple about it. So as you can tell, I have these observers right here, which if I go ahead and place a block in front of this observer, the pistons will fire and move the block over to the side, and once it reaches this observer right here, I think you guys can pretty much guess what's gonna happen once I activate this. It's just gonna go ahead and push this out, and this just continues on and on for pretty much as much wood as you want to gather, or until it reaches 12 blocks in length in this direction, because that is technically the piston push limit, and it does in fact use the actual locking repeater mechanism itself. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, actually let me go ahead and clear this out, not that really matters all that much. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how this actually would technically work. So let's go ahead and get out a sapling, and we're going to go ahead and place this down, and we're going to go ahead and activate. So this is actually how it actually functions, obviously. So when the tree grows, then this repeater is going to fire, but then get locked by this repeater before it's actually able to go ahead and fire a second time. And obviously that means that, well, the tree gets moved over, but the actual pistons don't constantly fire, which can be a problem if you do not set this up correctly, is that's just going to create a really annoying clock. So let's go ahead and plant this one, and we're going to watch this one. Hopefully it works before too long. I can't imagine it takes too terribly long, and it pretty much does the exact same thing as it does on the other side. So yeah, that's pretty much the only examples I have for this particular video. I just hope that maybe making this might at least help Mumbo Jumbo out, even if it's just a little bit. So other than that, this is actually where I'm going to go ahead and end off the video. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure that like button. I want to make sure that subscribe button for future content. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at AgentCPU0 to stay updated. This is Mr. Stews. Thank you guys for watching, and with that, I'll see you guys later.